Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Clobear. If you don't know me, this is the place where I talk about mental health, budgeting, money, relationships, and personal growth. Basically, pretty much anything that has to do with adulting and oversharing. So today I want to talk about EMDR therapy because it's a type of therapy that completely changed my life, and I do have a post of it up on Clobear, but I want to do a video of it because recently that page has been seeing quite a bit of traffic, and so I believe that there's a need for it. And so I just want to share my experiences and give you a little bit of insight on what EMDR therapy was like from a patient perspective. So today we're going to talk about what it is and some tips that I have for deciding whether or not you're ready for it. And so let's just dive right in. So actually, before I get started on talking about what EMDR therapy is, I want to also say that before I ever even started EMDR therapy, I was kind of skeptical because I had already tried every other type of therapy. So I have been in cognitive behavioral therapy, I've been in dialectical behavioral therapy, I've been in talk therapy, I've taken medication for things like depression and anxiety, and I've also just tried meditation and those sorts of things. So when my therapist suggested that I try EMDR therapy, I was very skeptical, and because of that, there were probably a few things that I missed when she was explaining it to me because I just was kind of off-puttish. Like I was just kind of like, this isn't gonna work, so it doesn't really matter. So anyway, I also, in addition to that, I didn't think that I had PTSD. When my therapist told me that I had PTSD, I was kind of like, that's for people who go to battle. That's not for me. That's like men who are veterans and have seen some shit and dealt with some shit. And I just had this one thing happen to me. So there's no way that this is like PTSD. She definitely proved me wrong. And what I will also say about EMDR therapy is it's not just for PTSD. I used it for PTSD. We also tried it on my anxiety, but it worked for me best with PTSD. It didn't work for me with anxiety. So why do I care about EMDR therapy? Well, it completely freaking changed my life. Like, I had no idea, like I said, that I had PTSD, but everything that I was experiencing and going to therapy for was because of PTSD. My anger, my flashbacks of the traumatic event, my block, like just total block in dealing with certain situations, and all of that anxiety towards it, and feeling like I was a failure, it was all in relation to PTSD, and it completely changed my life. I mean, not to be super corny, but it did. It changed my life. So anyway, EMDR therapy stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. If you couldn't tell, I had a hard time saying that because it's a difficult thing to say. What that means is basically it's a really fancy way of saying EMDR therapy helps you reprocess your thoughts and your memories because it utilizes the eye movement, the same kind of eye movement that is used in REM sleep, which in REM sleep is when you are processing your memories and feelings and thoughts and experiences the most. There's no higher level of processing that the human brain can do than what is in REM therapy, REM therapy. Right underneath that is EMDR therapy because of the way that it mimics the eye movement that happens during REM sleep. So that's kind of science behind it. I am not a therapist, and that is my disclaimer here. I am not a therapist, but this is my layman's explanation of what it is. So another important thing to note about EMDR therapy is that it is a therapy that makes you go back to the trauma. So it makes you kind of in a way relive it because you're constantly dealing with it and you are actively reprocessing it. Because of that, you need to be in the right space for it. You need to be ready. It's not like you can just dive in and like go to therapy and be like, great, now I'm gonna go to a work conference and run this multi-million-dollar company. Like, okay, not necessarily that, but it's something that takes a lot of emotional energy. So if it's a point in your life where you're not ready to invest a lot of energy into healing, you might want to consider putting off EMDR therapy until you are really ready for it, or until things get so bad that you have to go do it. I decided to do EMDR therapy because I had no reason not to. I am in a privileged place where I don't have anybody who I'm responsible for. I didn't have anything to take care of except for myself, and I was in a pretty good, okay job situation. So if it's an extra stressful time in your life right now, it might not be the best idea to start EMDR therapy, but definitely think about it and consider, is this the right time for me to do something that's really emotionally exhausting? EMDR therapy too is not like talk processing therapy where you could go to therapy for the rest of your life. Like, there's endless things for you to talk to your therapist about. However, EMDR therapy is specifically made to be a short, structured time frame. So you're not going to be doing EMDR therapy for the rest of your therapy experience. You're just going to do it in the amount of time that it takes for you to do all 8 steps. So for some people, doing all 8 steps can take 10 sessions. For other people, it could take 30. For me, it took, once we actually got into the therapy session, where we were doing EMDR therapy, I think it took me an actual, maybe 6 or 7 sessions to do EMDR therapy. And that took place over several months because I didn't go to therapy once a week. I only went once every other week and sometimes once every 3 weeks. So, the amount of time that you're doing it doesn't mean that you're more or less traumatized. It just means that it's taking a little bit longer to process things. So the 8 steps of EMDR therapy are history taking, which is basically where you sit and you talk and you go over your history with your therapist. The next step is preparation, where your therapist will explain to you what to expect and what the process is like and how to prepare for it. Like, make sure you don't have anything on the day that you do EMDR therapy for the first time. Make sure you're not immediately going to a work event and then traveling to New York City to try and fundraise with big donors. That's what I did because I was an idiot. And I also didn't think it would affect me in the same way that it did. So after that client preparation, you'll do an assessment where your therapist will basically go through all the strong memories that you had mentioned to her during the history taking, and you'll kind of identify what the strongest assessment, like what images to you are the strongest images and the most powerful. After that, there's desensitization, which is the weird part, but also the really cool part that gets your eyes to move back and forth. For me, some people just do this, where you're picking a memory to focus on, and you're watching a finger go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. What I did is my therapist had these vibrators. I don't know what the actual word is because they're just like these little vibrator things that she has a control to, and they're just these little baubles, and you hold on to them while they vibrate back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and when you close your eyes just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with them. She can increase the intensity and she can also slow it down. So she did both depending on what we were thinking of or what we were talking about. So after that, the installation period happens when you're in that moment and you're experiencing the trauma and you've had so much and you're feeling what you're feeling, and your therapist is guiding you through the experience of experiencing the trauma again. Then she'll use some cognitive behavioral techniques to kind of calm you down and bring you back to center so that you can continue to reassociate the experiences that you're having with more positive feelings of being in control. So my installation would look like, the very first time that I did it, I had an absolute freak out, and to bring me back down, she did a meditation of breathe in positive energy and picture the color and imagine it going through, and then let go of that negative energy and picture that color that is. So then I would picture lavender smoke fog coming into me, and then there's an ambulance. and then I would let out that black energy. So after that, there is the body scan, and the body scan is exactly what it sounds like, where you're basically taking inventory of how you feel from head to toes, and your therapist will kind of like guide you through that body scan. After the body scan, it's a closure where you just talk to your therapist to say how it went, and then you keep doing these in each session that you have, and the last step is reevaluation to see if you're still triggered by the same memories or thoughts as you were when you started. So those are the steps. The 8 stages are history taking, client preparation, assessment, desensitization, installation, body scan, closure. Yes, I have notes over here, and reevaluation. So in another post, in another video, I will go through what my experience was for each of those. But I just wanted this particular post to be one where I kind of explain what EMDR therapy is, what the stages are, and what to expect for each of those stages. So in another post, I will give you some more information on what my experiences were like. And if there's anything else that you want to know, just post some questions down below so that I can answer them. And if I don't have the answers to them, I can look up the answers to them and share them with you. So thank you for coming back today. And I look forward to sharing my story with you on the rest of the EMDR therapy experience. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like it, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think. So thanks guys, bye.